Good morning. Welcome to Your Vote Counts. I'm Scott Mitchell with Jon Echols and Jason Dunnington. And sooner or later, it had to happen. That's right, the first week of the legislative session. So our first segment, we're going to talk about the governor proposes. The governor gave a state of the state this week. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Governor gave his State of the State address on Monday. I thought he said some nice things. Talked about the importance of families in Oklahoma and the role that they play. Talked about his faith. I think that was important for him to share that. Talked a lot about how acts that he's done for criminal justice reform. I also liked that. I do think that he continued his call for tax cuts. Again, I'd like to see something on the grocery tax. But some of the things that I was a little not shocked to see, but his continued kind of unnecessary fight with some of our tribal partners here in the state brought some of those issues up. And then the continued push to cut income tax, I just think is the wrong tax to cut, but it's something that he wants.
Okay, well, that impasse is going to stay there for a while. You were on the floor, Mr. Leader. What did you think?
Well, I was working as floor leader for my 8th and final State of the State. I thought the governor did a great job. I think he gave for the most part, the speech was casting a vision for where he wanted to see. Talked a lot about his foundation and faith, which I think is great, and then applied it to how that applied to what we should do in government. I agree with him on an income tax cut, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with a different tax cut. I think that's where the House is on that issue. Overall, I would say it was one of his better ones when what could have been a very contentious time. Governor really hit a home run on this one.
If you're looking for little points in there for going forward, you just got one. Okay. Now, the governor proposes, the legislature disposes. So the House and the Senate have an agenda. Let's talk about that.
So we're really excited this year. We have a great agenda for both parties, or both chambers. The House is heavily involved in wanting to have an income tax cut. We've made that clear, but we'll accept a different tax cut. We're also focusing on creating a better business environment for the state of Oklahoma. The Senate has some great priorities. They're focusing on budget transparency. And this week, Senator Pugh and Senator Pemberton put out their education plan. I'm really excited to see when that goes to Chairman McBride, Chairman Baker in the House. So education, business, taxes, budget transparency, it's going to be a good year.
Okay, your thoughts about the legislative agenda?
Well, yeah, I mean, legislative agenda is clearly important. One thing I will say, too, in the governor's address, talked about how he wanted to see flat budgets for all agencies this year. So what my colleague just talked about was things like education, infrastructure, and especially investment in bringing new businesses to Oklahoma. Those things, unfortunately, cost dollars. Those dollars would be spent through agencies. That would not be a flat budget. I think you all at home see where I'm going with this. The governor wants flat budgets. The legislature's probably going to want to spend a little bit more than what the governor had wanted, then throw in the tax cuts that cost money, and it could get real interesting as we get into the spring.
Okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about that mess in Washington. We talk about that a lot. And passing an icon. I think you know what we're talking about when we come back.